Hello, Ace here. I just got my new RadioLink RC6GS transmitter and receiver in today. Here is the transmitter. I'll go over a few of the options that it has. It's 6-channel, which makes it nice for if you're using a crawler or a boat with multiple motors or something of that effect. The receiver is an R6FG, which has a built-in gyro, which works really well for drifting or for stabilizing your car on a hard acceleration or turns. This remote, as I said, is 6-channel. On the back here, you've got a plug, a micro USB, which you can hook up to a computer to update the firmware on the remote. You got your power switch. The transmitter takes 6 AA batteries, or you can take out the battery tray and put in a 2 to 4S LiPo battery with a JST connector, which is usually a little small red connector, or a Futaba connector would also work if you did a small modification to the battery compartment. And this comes with the manual, which is not very thorough, but it is in good English, and you can Google search this or scan the QR code on the front of the manual to get a better one online. There's a lot of features in this remote. It has channel mixing, which I guess is for if you have a dual motored boat. It can make both motors excel at the same time. Now, on here we've got the throttle trigger, the steering, which has a comfortable foam cover on the knob. And this is the 3rd channel. It's a knob that's dedicated from the factory to the control of the gyro sensitivity. Then here's a push button switch for channel 4. And then 5 and 6 are these 3 position switches, which you could use on a crawler to unlock or lock your diffs, or 2-wheel or 4-wheel drive, low, whichever. They're both the same 3 position switches. Also, here on the outside of the controller, we have the steering trim switch adjustment, which you push up or down. Here on the top is the throttle adjustment trim knob. Then on the front here is an auxiliary knob. I don't know if you can program this to multiple channels or only one other channel. I'm not sure how that works. Comes with an antenna which folds nicely, and this will work up to 600 meters distance. Now I'm going to try to show some of the features of the remote. When you turn on the remote, you will get this main menu here, and you will push the 2 outside buttons. Oh, let me point this out. Up here at the top, it shows the voltage of the battery in the remote itself. You can also program this remote to up to 10 different model RC cars you want to use by it'll show up the name up here. And here is your steering and your throttle graph. When you use these knobs here on the side for throttle or steering trim, it will show you how far over. It goes in increments of 2. And to access the feature menu, you'll press the exit and the enter buttons at the same time. Now, for the first option, we have language, which is either Chinese or English. The second option is model, and this is how you select which model you want to use, which car that you want to use this remote with. Your endpoint adjustment, which is how you can adjust your steering how far it will steer, or you can go down here and do your throttle adjustment, which you could program, you know, it would actually make the car slower. You could adjust it down to, say, 50% if you wanted your car to run at 50% speed. Now you've got the steering adjustment. As I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to read these options in the manual at the same time, so it kind of makes it a little hard. This manual doesn't go into any detail, though, on these options. You got the steering speed, and I believe this controls the throttle speed, which is nice because you can set this throttle speed to a custom speed if you want it to take off at 100% power, or you can have it take off at 50% power and then get faster as you go. Acceleration. ABS, which is anti-lock brake system, and you can adjust the sensitivity of this, the delay, and the pulse amount. And 9 is the acceleration, which I don't know what it does, but number 10 is an idle up option, which if you have a nitro car, you can set this so your idle speed will be faster. That'll help you start your nitro car. That way you don't have to set and hold the button on the throttle trigger. And here's your trim options. And then here's your channel reverse settings. Depending on which way you want to turn the wheel or throttle and reverse the car, you can set these settings here. And here's the dual rate setting. That's the steering rate and the throttle dual rates. ATL, I have no idea what this is either. There's no explanation in the manual. And here's the mixing for the channels right here. And here's the auxiliary channel, which can be set for VR, which is this turn knob here, which is the gyro. That shows that the gyro is set for VR. You can set it for switch A, switch B, switch C. And then the name, you can go in here and choose what name you want to program this controller to be. Or if you've got different models set up to use the same controller, you can program their names here. There's alarm, which is for when you're running a LiPo battery. You can set the alarm options to where the remote will give you an audible alarm when the battery is low. 3S lithium, 4S NiCad. And I'm running a 2S battery in here right now. And here's your gyro. It's on, and the mode is VR, which means that it's set to adjust with the turn knob. And then here's the rate at the bottom. Now if you turn the turn dial, you'll notice the sensitivity of the gyro changes. I usually don't even have mine on because I'm more of a basher, but if I'm doing a speed run, I will use the gyro to help stabilize the car. And to change any of these settings, you'll press the enter button, and then the plus or minus, which will give you the options. And then you'll hit the enter button to save it. Here's the fail-safe settings. To all these you want to be zeros. And then there's the reset. This controller is very good. It handles very well. When you hold it in your hand, it feels good. It doesn't feel cheap or chintzy. My other one that I have, the RC6GS, I've dropped several times from at least 5 feet, and it hasn't broken the screen. You know, it scratched it a little bit, but it hasn't broken anything. And here's the battery compartment. You just slide this cover off, put your batteries in, and when you want to bind this receiver, when you install this in your car the first time, it's very simple. You will just hook up the receiver. Channel 1 will be your channel 1 on here, which is at the top, would be your servo. Channel 2 will be your ESC, which is for your throttle. And then channel 3 you will leave open because that's for the gyro. So you can't plug anything into channel 3. I've been told that it can cause damage to the gyro if you're using something else on channel 3. I don't know for sure. I've never tried it. Now you can also hook up LEDs or multiple servos to different channels on this receiver. And the manual that it comes with doesn't even tell you how to properly bind this system. It doesn't tell you how to bind it. It doesn't tell you anything about the buttons. But on the receiver, there is a button here in the end, a little push button. You'll take a small screwdriver or a paper clip, and you'll push in there and hold it, and the light will start blinking. And that's when you turn on your controller, and then the light will quit blinking when it's done binding. Now if you push this button 3 times real fast in a row, it will turn on or off the gyro. I'll have a link in the description to this receiver and transmitter if you'd like to purchase one from Amazon. I believe they might also sell them on eBay. Some local hobby shops might have them. I don't know that. Mine doesn't, but depending on where you're from, it might. So this is all the information I have right now on this controller. In the next video, I'm going to have this installed in my Arma Typhon 3S, and I'll do a quick run video. Thank you. Have a great day.